Hi and welcome to the Guitarist Tone Lounge. I'm Neville Marten.
I'm Richard Barrett.
Today we're looking at Boss's brand new range of Nextone amps.
Yes, they feature Tube Logic technology, which in short is a completely analogue way of replicating the way the components of a 50s style classic design valve amp interact under pressure.
But without all the complications and weight of valve amps and the huge transformers that go with them. We have two different models. Richard's playing the Artist, which is an 80 watt, and I'm playing the Stage, which is a 40 watt. They come with 4 different types of valve amp stage. In fact, they've got a 6V6, 6L6, EL84 and EL34. So essentially you've got 2 types of sound, like you've got the American sound.
What's that going through? Yeah, so what was it, a 6V6, that like a Fender Deluxe
Fender
or something?
Deluxe, Princeton.
Then the 6L6 getting into a
twin reverb, super reverb kind of thing.
And I suppose the dirty channel, you'll be getting a bit more boogie-ish, perhaps.
Exactly. And then that's true. And then you've got the 2 British tones, which is the AC30 box
EL84
sound, EL84 and the Marshall EL34 sound. They come with really very simple to use foot switches, and it's really easy to read. You've got clean versus lead, you've got a boost, and you've got a tone, and you've got an FX loop, which you can have in or out, and a delay in or out.
Yes.
The boost is a nice little touch because when you're on the clean, it just adds a bit of thump. Or both of them, it adds a bit of thump. The tone adds a bit of brightness and pizzazz to the clean sound, and a bit more mid and push to the lead sound.
Yes, it's like a dual function, isn't it? Yes. Yeah, it's the frequencies that you'd want in either channel.
Exactly. Well, in fact, let's quickly do that. Here we are. We're on clean at the moment. Here's the boost. Kind of same tone, but a bit more of it. I'll put the tone on now. Subtle, but you can hear it's subtle, but you can hear a bit more top end shimmer there.
With these things, I often find it's more about when you're at stage volume, you really hear it then.
Definitely, definitely. If I go to the lead channel, in fact, boost.
It's like a drive pedal added.
It is exactly like that. And here's the tone.
It's a little bit chewier.
It's a bit tube screamerish. There's
Yes,
just a bit of extra push there.
So that's on the, yes, of course. So on the clean channel, that's a little bit of extra pizzazz, as you said, at the top end.
Yeah.
And a bit of extra mids in the dirt.
Yeah. I mean, everything obviously is on the amp as well. We've got things set as we kind of like them, as we've messed about with them a bit.
I think we've both ended up on EL34, haven't we?
Oh, we have.
I can see there, yeah.
Yeah. Let's tell you what. Why don't you go through your different?
We were having a play earlier, and this is still set how I had it then. So there's quite a lot of delay and reverb. But I've got the EL34. That's just the gain channel with the digital effects on there. I'll take them down a little bit. I haven't got any boost or tone on there, but I'm just wondering with humbuckers whether it might be a good idea to have a listen to that. So I'll boost. Certainly at volume, that's going to push it over the edge, as the movie says. So that's a bit of extra thickness, but not more drive particularly. I'm just wondering, didn't occur to me that you could have them both on at once.
Classic Guitarist default mode, everything on.
And in E.
Together, in E, of course, exactly. I'll go through some of the different amp types. You've got on the EL34 there.
This off actually. Do you want to hear clean?
Yeah, let's go for clean.
Right, in fact, I'll use my... okay, off you come. Okay, so EL34 there. I'm I'm on maximum power as well, because we can switch that down.
Yeah, Boss recommend you use these amps with the masters on full,
Yes.
and then set your channel levels to how you like them.
Our kind of people.
Exactly.
But that's the EL34. I mean, this isn't a powerful pickup, but I can just about hear it starting to, if I really hammer that. So if I were to perhaps come back a bit to EL84, I'm hearing a sort of low, mid, high bass. There's a difference, isn't there? How to empty your guitar shops. And then going American, well, we got 6L6. It's not some kind of night and day difference, but I think the louder things get as well, the more the frequency response is noticeable,
Yeah,
I think.
definitely.
And that's the 6V6, which is, as you'd expect, a bit easier to make sound as if it hurts.
I'll do the same on my amp with the Telecaster, because you'll see that that's kind of slightly different result. Currently I'm on EL34 there, so it's kind of as you'd expect, everything there, nothing overly boosted, or there's a pretty even sound, isn't it, an EL34?
Yes.
Go to the EL84, which is the Voxy kind of sound. You can hear a bit more spank there, can't you? Very sweet sound actually with the Telly.
That's a great Telly though.
It's a nice sounding guitar actually. And here's the 6L6, which is that twin reverby.
It stays clean, doesn't it? Even when you're hitting it hard, there's no edge.
You could push that really hard and I don't think it's going to start breaking up too much. 6V6, which is the Fender Princeton, Fender Deluxe. You know, obviously Fender Deluxe is the most used studio amp in the world probably ever recorded. So many hits from the 60s, 70s, 80s were done with them. It's a tone that never offends. It's just, that's just guitar tone. And with a Telly, it's so...
Single coils, it's a great compliment for doing that kind of demo with those sounds, I think.
It works very well. The Telly is a great all-purpose guitar actually, and I've often argued it's the only guitar you need, but that's another argument for another day. Rich, why don't you take us through the control panel on your amp there?
I would like to do that, but I actually quite fancy, after hearing you, having to go on some single coils through this myself. So what I can do is on this power control and go from max to half a watt to standby. So that's very old school valve amp.
Nice.
Means I can do that. Well, I go back up to max power, of course. And then clean channel EL34s. Okay. Try a bit of that. Might show us the tone. I can
more sparkly,
hear
you
that
definitely
there.
hear it, can't you?
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's about what frequency range you're working in, really. So the twang on a single coil. That's the boost I've just put in. Yeah, I like the way it feels.
That's just like you kicked in a very light tube screamery kind of
Yes,
sound.
yeah.
Just push that middle up a bit, just done that kind of thing that they do.
And at volume, you certainly start to feel that it wants to
Definitely.
go.
The other nice thing is that the amps really behave with the guitars as you'd expect they'd behave with the guitars. And back in the old days of amps that weren't valve amps, it was very hard to do that. They didn't want to kind of comply with what you did. They just gave you what they gave you, and that was the end of it.
Yeah, you'd have to give them a completely different set of instructions via the controls.
Yeah, but they respond. They respond to how you turn the guitar down, how you turn the guitar up, what the guitar is, what pickup you're on. It's very noticeable, actually.
That's true. In fact, I might go over to the distortion channel and give that a go.
Okay.
Let's go there.
I presume before you start, all the buttons you're pressing on there, they conform to what's on, largely what's on the floor here.
They do largely, and what I have noticed, which I personally found quite handy doing this, is that if I use a button there, then I see the button light up on the foot switch and vice versa. So yes, yeah. Well, I'm still EL34 at the moment, and I've just kicked the gain channel on. Neither the boost or the tone is on. I suppose we should talk about the bass, middle and treble, because even though they're on every amp, they're always voiced slightly differently, aren't they? Though I am aware that you can deep edit these and use different tone stacks. So I guess we should talk about that a bit later.
Yeah, you can. You using a USB port, you can, on your computer, you can connect the amp to it and go in and edit all things like sag and all of those more fundamental, well, not fundamental, deeper issues than...
The kind of things you would normally have to talk to your amp tech about.
Exactly, exactly.
Quite like what I'm hearing.
Yeah,
That's with
nice.
the mid maxed out, and I'm just taking it down to about halfway again. And because I suppose we should hear it, I don't know what it'll be like. I've maxed out the treble just to warn you.
Okay. It's not actually horrible. It's quite Stevie Ray-ish, actually, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that I'm particularly Stevie Ray, but just to
Sounded
show I know
quite
what you
Texas to
mean.
me.
So I guess we can say that we've established they're nicely voiced, though again they are tweakable, aren't they?
Yeah.
So that's the sort of EQ. And then moving along we have the delay, foot switchable in or out. There's a tap tempo button underneath there which lights up to tell you where you are in terms of speed.
Which is kind of strange because you can do it on the button here on the amp, but without having an extra pedal plugged into. There's a couple of
auxiliary
functions on there. You can't tap it on the pedal as is, and I think that's a bit silly. Richard and I were just speaking. Neither of us have ever switched an FX loop in or out. Never in my life.
Yes, no disrespect to those who have, but been playing for quite a while at this point. I've never
I would
wanted
turn
to
the
do
pedal.
that.
I would turn the pedal off. I wouldn't turn the loop off. I don't see the point in that.
I'll just get confused.
Me too. So I think that it would have been really nice if the tap tempo, because it's a very logical, obvious thing that you use all the time, should be on that as is. That's just my little beef.
I would happily have it replace the effects loop button.
Yeah.
Delay and
Me
tap.
too. Otherwise, that's a really handy, useful useful thing. I'd like to know what the reasoning behind that is, because it doesn't. Some guy's going to say, "No, I always do it that." So, you know, it's horses for courses.
Everyone else we meet from this day forward, probably.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, shall I do the same on? Have you gone all the way through that?
I've pretty much, yeah. We've got the delay and the reverb there. I mean, I suppose the presence control. Shall I just give a quick overview of that? I'll start with it high.
Yep.
So that really is expanding on what the tone button does, if you like. And then let's bring it back to 0. And I'll bring it back to about halfway, where I generally default to, probably like most people.
Very nice sound on that guitar. Is that the bridge pickup on there?
Yes.
Yes, really nice sound.
Everything on 10 on the bridge pickup.
It works very well. Perhaps I should possibly plug my 335 in and see what that sounds like through mine, because although we've tried humbuckers, that is a semi hollow. So I'll whip the Telecaster off and put my 335 on. All right, I've switched to my 335 here. It's a much more powerful guitar than the Tele. And it's got that big thing that they have. It's a big spranging. It's not the easiest tone to control actually on a 335, because it seems to give you all of everything at once, and you need to kind of sometimes tame it a bit. Now, I'm on the EL34 at the moment. That's
again, it's very well proportioned, isn't it?
It is,
a new, different guitar with a different pickup straight in there.
Yeah. That's the EL84, so that's already...
It seems to me the frequency range that a guitar is focused in, like I noticed with this, that the higher range with the tone and everything, but the mids that will be affected by changing to the Vox setting.
Very much. That's gone, I suppose, a little bit more scooped in the middle.
Yeah.
With the Vox, you get a bit more spangly on the top. 6L6. Again, those, especially the 6L6, is it's a really normal guitar sound. It's kind of what a million guitarists have plugged in. You turn up to a gig, you know, where the back line's hired in. It's usually it's very often a twin, isn't it?
Yep.
And you kind of know what to do with it, and where you twiddle about the knobs and everything. It sounds instantly familiar. It's just a
twin or a DeVille.
Yeah. 6V6 now. Again, a very nice. If that only had that on it, you could use it in a million situations, couldn't you?
Oh yeah, very
With a million
easily.
different guitars. It's such a good sound, the 6V6. Session guitarists, guys like Reggie Young, who's on millions of things. He played that lovely intro to Dusty Springfield's Son of a Preacher Man, Elvis Presley's Suspicious Minds and stuff. He just used a deluxe all his life. And who's the great British session guy? Did motorbiking.
Chris Spedding. Yeah.
Only ever used a deluxe all his life, with flying V's and all kinds of. So it's a really, really usable
I think
amp.
it's one of Robbie McIntosh's favourites as well.
Definitely, definitely. So anyway, I'll just quickly go through some of the sounds on here. I've got some delay on here. The delay control literally just uses that, puts that amount of effect up, so it just gets deeper. You could probably set the Albert Lee doubling thing there, couldn't you? If you found the right. I'll knock that back. The reverb's really nice sounding reverb. Turn the echo and delay off. Do it on the floor.
Yep. That's dry, and then
dry. Up about halfway. It's just a nice. That's why your guitar's going out of tune.
There's a simplicity though to the way that the effects work. It's nice to have effects and everything, but I think a lot of people have got access to that, haven't they? And this is more about getting the core tone with, yeah, sure, some delay
Definitely,
and some reverb, which is great.
Yeah, you don't need. I mean, you could. They may well in the future bring out one with loads of effects on it, but for now, this is just. It's certainly enough for me to get my teeth into. Again, treble. I've got everything. I've got the middle set a bit. That's probably why it's sounding a bit fatter in the middle, because the middle was pushed up for the Telecaster. So I'm going to back the middle off to about halfway. I've got it's all 3 controls. All 3 controls in the middle there. So I'll push the treble up a bit, take the bit of middle out, put the bass up a bit. You very, very noticeably changes it, doesn't it? That's not an unpleasant rhythm sound at all. I could mess about and put the treble up.
I was going to say with the 6V6s, they all break up a bit easier. I was going to say with higher settings like
they do,
you're doing.
Yeah. Actually, I want to go on to the next. What am I? Yeah, that's treble up full. I'll take the treble back, put the middle up full.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Yeah.
I bet with the tone and boost or either or.
Well, I'll do that. In fact. Tone. It's a nice sound. Okay, lead. I'll go back to the EL34 for that classic boost on. Tone on. That's more that sound, isn't it?
Yeah. Get the feeling that has plenty left in the tank, if you'll excuse the cliche. I just felt like saying that.
Definitely.
The volume's set quite low, isn't it?
Yeah, I haven't gone mad here. I'm actually master volume.
Well,
master volume is full. Volume on the lead channel is very low down. It's about on a quarter. So if I push that to about if I push the volume to about half. It's really, really pokey. That I hadn't even realised how low my volume was earlier on, but that's halfway. So it does seem to increase the tones you've actually got. It doesn't seem to interact in a different way, like a valve amp might.
I want to have a go on this one
Go
doing
on
that
then,
now.
do it.
Up to about half.
Okay.
And up to the maximum on here. Bit of boost. I'll do the tone as well while we're at it. Go for the full house.
There's nothing artificial about that sound at all, is there?
No, I felt very natural using that.
Yeah, really, really sounds nice. It seems to retain the integrity as you go high up, it's not going into some place of mush and
Yes.
losing the personality of
And
the guitar.
And one-dimensional snapshot of a tone.
Exactly. No, it's not. It's really nice. I like that. As a little aside there, I switched back to the Telecaster and we plugged a little Thorpe FX, the deep Oggin pedal, which is a kind of chorus type of wobbly effect, lovely sounding thing, into the effects loop of the Nextone. And it's really neat. Tell them why it sounds so good in the effects loop, Rich.
Well, if you, and it took me a long time to realise this, if you plug any sort of modulation or delay time-based effects into the front of an amp that is distorting, or even before a distortion pedal, if you modulate or delay before you distort, then it can tend to end up sounding a bit rubbish, can't it?
You get ugly distorted, you get distorted delays, and you don't want that.
There's a few honourable exceptions, aren't there? I mean, things like Robin Trower Live, and even some of the Gary Moore stuff I had, where you could hear the delays breaking up a little bit. But generally speaking, and especially with anything that's at all driven in any significant way, then you won't even hear the effect, will you?
So it was quite handy to put it in, very simple to use, and there's the effect on. If I press the effects loop back in.
I'm guessing that what we have then is the potential to have several modulation effects set up and on all the time, and you could, at the click of one button, take them all on or off. I mean, I've made no secret of the fact that I'm slightly mystified by the effects loop function, and I'd like to see a tap delay there, but...
me too. I mean, obviously, we've just got one pedal, but you could have your whole pedal board split, so all of your time-based effects went through the loop.
Yes.
And your say your distortions and wah-wah pedal and compressor went in the front end as you usually have it. And then you could turn the effects loop on, leave your distortions and things on, but turn that on and maybe use amp reverb. So I suppose it's options really, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
But we thought we'd show you how that sounds, and it sounds like it's a very clean sounding loop. There's no, it just works. You just.
Well, I think that is the right phrase to use. It just works, which is what I want things to do. Work.
It doesn't get in your way, and there's no big fuss about it. It just does the trick. Okay, we'll take the pedal out. Well, we'll leave the pedal in actually. We'll just turn the effects loop off. Yeah. So, could you show us what's going on the back? Because apparently there's a few interesting things around the back of the amp as well.
There are pretty much every kind of connection. In fact, I will probably need to periodically lean over and look to remind myself.
That's fine.
But I'm going to try and do without that.
Okay.
No, okay, failed already. But we have phones and recording out, so that's a 1/4-inch jack, and it does exactly what it says.
Yeah.
It is frequency compensated so that you can plug in with your headphones and not be fizzed out to the maximum.
Yeah.
There, below that is a USB connection, which is your access point to, well, your ability to plug in to recording software, audio interfaces, that kind of thing. It also allows you to use the Tone Studio software, so parameters that aren't available to tweak on the amp like this in the real world can be tweaked. Things like sag.
Yeah.
When that feeling I think you know very well what that is, but when you hit a chord and you just kind of feel the voltage sag and it sounds a bit squishy, early Van Halen perhaps.
Exactly.
That kind of thing. There are lots of other things that you can adjust in there as well. I know that you can, for instance, choose a different power amp stage for each channel. So you might love your 6L6s on the clean, but want the EL34s on the dirty. That kind of stuff.
That's interesting.
So that's all adjustable in there.
That's actually very nice, because you might want your deluxe for your rhythm stuff,
yes,
and your Marshall for your lead stuff.
Well, the way my life tends to go is like, if only you could do that, then it would be perfect. Well, you can, which is nice. And there's a straight uphold line out as well, so you can go into other outboard gear.
Or out to the PA or something if you wanted to use that line.
I suppose if you were to use the line out, then you could go to something like one of these posh speaker simulators.
Oh, yeah.
But you could just use the recording out as well, or the USB out even, I suppose, if it was modern PA gear.
Yeah.
And the effects loop is there. It's a mono, send and return.
Yeah. Which we just tried,
Which we just tried out, and a couple of options for foot switches. So we've got the deluxe version here that does all the remote functions, but there's also a socket for the single foot switch, so just doing the channel or the boost tone switching. A little bit further in underneath the chassis, there are the different speaker connections as well. So should you not wish to use the internal one, which is custom voiced, I believe, for Boss, you could go into a 4x12 or 2x12. Or
so it's pretty all-encompassing. There seems to be very little that they won't do.
Yes, I don't think there's a situation that you won't be able to use this in.
Great, lovely. In summary then, I've actually really enjoyed playing. I haven't plugged into that one, I've only played this one, but I've thoroughly enjoyed playing this. It's loud enough, the tones are really convincing and natural. They work really nicely with both the guitars.
Yes.
I've noticed that with yours as well, your humbucking nags compared to your single coil nags, the personality comes out.
I mean, I've particularly enjoyed the single coils today. I guess that's just the mood I'm in. But it does work great with both. There are no issues at all. No,
I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, the artist one, you've got 80 watts, and the stage one that I've got here, 40 watts. Essentially, what's on them is the same.
Yes.
That's double the power, and it's got a bigger cabinet. If you were playing in a pub, you may want to, if you had a pub gig as your main gig, you'd probably want to go with that.
Yeah, one of those backline only type gigs where you're not in the PA, that's for the singer and maybe a bit of bass drum. I don't know, that was the way it always was with me.
Exactly, yeah.
And
but for I mean, this is small enough to have in your house. It's not an intrusive, great big box. It's got everything on it that you want. All the recording facilities that are on here are just as good. And if you want to get into all the deep editing stuff, you can do that. If you're that way inclined straight away, or as I would do it, I'd learn how to use the amp first.
Yes, I'd work out where my sort of problems with it began. Where I stopped enjoying a certain function because I wanted to tweak it. And like, if only I could have a different clean sound. Well, you can. It's just you get to that stage first. Yeah.
So if you get to discover that you love the 6v6 sound for your clean, because deluxe reverbs are the thing for clean,
sort of the standard,
but you want a Marshall for your dirty, then great. What's great about amps like this is that they're self-contained largely.
Light, self-contained.
They weigh nothing. They're really easy to pick up. Even the bigger one, it's not, because it doesn't have the great big huge valve amp transformers that you need to power those things, which is where a lot of the weight comes from. But they sound great. I mean, we loved the Katanas, didn't we?
Yes,
absolutely. When we tried them.
It was funny because we were chatting about that earlier, weren't we? And we've done the Blues Cubes in the past, and it's a slightly different flavour with all of them. I mean, I know these are completely analogue output stage. It's a different thing, isn't it? But there's a different flavour,
But they really do work nicely. And were you to take an amp like this into the studio, you could get sounds out of here that would be immensely convincing. Yeah,
absolutely. I agree. It's a lot of it is in the way it's recorded and how it's processed.
Exactly. So, I mean, I don't have anything to say against them. When we crank them up in here, because obviously we can't really have them too loud into these recording mics, but when we did, just for our own benefit, there's tons of volume
Oh yeah, we only
here.
got halfway up on the dial, and that was
we did
enough. Really.
even on the 40-watt one, we had plenty of power. It's logically laid out. It's basically what you'd expect on any amp. There's nothing. It's not all buttons, and it's normal rotary controls, and the switch for the power, different powers, power scaling here.
Yes, including a standby, which I thought was a nice little nod to valve amp power sections.
Yeah, even though you don't actually need it electronically, it's very handy for changing
But it is good for
guitars, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I did like the subtlety of the changes in tone, and you can hear that is supposed to be.
I noticed that. I mean, especially with a single coil pickup and on a louder setting, really started to hear the different frequencies.
Definitely. So they really work. They work nicely. They do what they say on the tin, and you can't really ask for more than that.
Nope.